Hey you guys, welcome back to Crafty Coach Will, and this is a new project that I will be working on this summer, which is a language learning bullet journal. And I am literally taking a page out of Sunshine and Stationery's book. She was gracious enough to share with the world some of her language learning methods, and I decided to adopt some of those for myself and implement them in my own way and with my own twist, utilizing some of my own background knowledge. Now, I will be showing you this language learning journal that I have created for myself. And by all means, if you like it, comment, post, repost, share with me what you do in your language learning. And I look forward to communicating with you guys. So enjoy the video. So here we have my foreign language journal. I am actually practicing or learning foreign language. I'm relearning Spanish because that is the language that I actually minored in college, and I studied abroad in Spain. And I did get to a point where I was fluent in the language. However, over the years, not practicing, not speaking it, I did lose a lot of my skills and a lot of my memory with it. So I did want to kind of go back and revisit and try to relearn the language just for my sake. And one of the things that I did to kind of tie this to my love of journaling is to create a foreign language journal. And this is self-made. I literally printed out the dotted sheets. I cut them down to size. I put these discs on them. I even made this cover. So this is a self-made, completely self-made journal, and it's roughly about an A5 size. And this Spanish journal is completely in Spanish to kind of force me to only write in Spanish in this journal. So it's going to force me to have to revisit a lot of that survival that I needed when I studied abroad. This is my grid sheet, and these are my most common layouts. And I just noticed that I have two parts in here that are actually, it looks like they're in English, but they're actually in Spanish. And I did double check with translators, and it is in Spanish. It's just pronounced differently. Then I have my index. I have my goals. I have my annual goal, my monthly goal, my weekly goal, my daily goal, and then in general. So for my annual goal, I want to get to a point where I'm at least in the intermediate phase of Spanish fluency. I want to complete 4 units per month. I want to complete 2 units per week. I want to complete a lesson with 100%. And by the end of my studies, I want to be able to read an entire novel in Spanish. And this is just a spot where I can track like anything that I read in Spanish. This is where I can track when I do my lessons and what the theme of the lessons are and what points I scored on those lessons. This is where I'm going to track the days that I actually study, and basically what I'll do is on the days that I study, I will color these in to indicate those are the days that I studied, and then I will write a reflection at the end of the month based off of how much I studied. Did I grow? Did I not grow? Like, what did I notice based off of the information here? And then this is my month breakdown. This is where I keep track of the days that I study and what exactly I studied. So study is many different ways. Either I'm studying the actual lessons, or I'm writing in that language in my journal, or I'm listening to something in that language, whether it be music or audiobooks or anything, whether I watch something like maybe an episode in Spanish, if I read anything in Spanish, like an article, a story, a book, anything like that, and if I've spoken Spanish. These here probably will not get tracked until maybe later on in my process, because they are built into the language learning software I'm using. So I'm not gonna put these until I'm actually at a point where I'm doing this without the language learning software. And then that's it. And the rest of the pages is basically where I will do like my journaling. I don't plan to do any type of weekly layouts or anything like that. It will simply be on a day that I study, I will do an entry. and I will talk about what I studied, what I learned, or anything like that. Maybe take some notes or anything that I want to jot down for that day, and I will write it in Spanish, and then I will just draw a line and put whatever the next day is. Now, with the foreign language journal, I did want to expand my learning. I didn't want to just limit it to Spanish, even though that is my focus language. I did want to kind of extend it out just to kind of give me something more to work with. So I kind of turned this into a transformative journal. So if I flip it over, I have a language learning bullet journal. And here I didn't bother with doing another grid or anything like that. I just started right with the index to keep track of what the pages were. And then I also put my goals for my 1 year, monthly, weekly, and so forth. Now, I did color code everything because I want to make sure that when I am talking about something in specific, that it pertains to either Spanish, Tagalog, or Japanese. And in my goals, I have very different levels of my goals. So in the year, I want to be fluent in Spanish, but then in Tagalog, I just want to be conversational, like be able to say some hellos and greetings and things like that. And then just basic greetings in Japanese. And then every month I have goals, every week. And then on days that I study, I plan to complete all lessons with 95 to 100% accuracy. So my goal is not to just do the lesson and get through it, but to actually excel in the lesson. So if I do a lesson and I fail at it or I don't do well, I'm going to go right back and redo it that day. Like, I'm not going to stop until I get to 95 to 100% accuracy in that lesson. And then for the study materials, I just want to track when I use what study materials. For example, if I use Rosetta Stone for Spanish, if I use Pimsleur for Spanish, Tagalog, or Japanese, I might use YouTube, I might use a book that I find. Whatever it is that I'm using to study, I'm going to track it here, and I'm going to track when I used it. And same thing with the unit tracker. So like if I'm using something, I'm going to track the units just to kind of keep me in check as to what days I'm studying what. And just like in the Spanish version, I have a calendar here that's going to track the days that I actually study. So anytime I study Spanish, I'm going to use my Vermilion Zebra mod liner, and I'm going to color in that day. Same thing with Tagalog, I'm going to use the blue mod liner. In Japanese, I'm going to use the red mod liner. And then based off of this information, I will do a journal entry reflecting on it. And here I have the same system: study, write, listen, watch, read, and talk. And basically what I will do there is, if I put study, I'm going to indicate if it was Spanish, Tagalog, or Japanese just by using the letters to indicate which ones they are. And then I'll just log them here. So like it could be a day where I have 3 study boxes because I studied all 3. Or it might be a day where I studied Spanish, but maybe I listened to Tagalog and I watched something in Japanese. Whatever the case may be, I'll be able to track what I'm doing in the month. And then just like the other one, I'll have just space to log my journey for June. And then when July comes around, I'll set up the July calendar and so forth and so on. So, language learning bullet journal on one side, specific Spanish foreign language bullet journal on the other.